The only thing you know is to get angry, to yell at people and say, God, get away from me, you're evil.
You have that aggressiveness when you were young and it got socialized out of you. And it's like a lost self that lives inside of you and is screaming to come out.
If you have a lot of aggressive energy, push it into something productive, into a career, make yourself the best person, or into a cause you hate.
So many people are just kind of embarrassed about being a human being, embarrassed about our primate nature, embarrassed about our own aggressive impulse.
Recognize your dark energy. Recognize the shadow that's inside you. See when it happens. Do not repress it. Do not tamp it down. You have a dark side. You have qualities, little corners in your brain that you don't reveal to other people and that carry something from your childhood, in fact. And you won't notice this and you won't talk about it and you won't think about it because it's painful. You have this idea that you're basically a very decent, wonderful, loving, warm person, that you're very smart and bright, that you control everything that you do, etc., etc., etc. You're deeply invested in your own opinion of yourself that's generally elevated from the reality, okay? And so the fact that you have a dark side, the fact that you have a shadow side, we say the word shadow because it's not illuminated, you're not seeing it. It's hard to see something that's in the darkness. I talk about how when you were a child, when you were 3, 4, or 5 years old, a lot of that dark energy that all human beings have, it comes from the time before we were socialized as humans, as children where we acted out and did anything that we wanted to do. You were like a complete human being. You had all these range of emotions. Some of it would be aggressive. Some of it would be angry. Some of it would be envious towards your siblings. And you didn't have this little voice inside of your head saying, don't do that, that's bad, bad, bad. You did it, you acted out. You were kind of a complete human being. But of course, we can't act like that in school or in business or at the workplace. And so we're socialized and we learn to sort of tamp down those very basic primal human needs and desires that we all have. And what happens when you repress this dark energy, this aggressiveness, this ambition, this desire to get something from other people, perhaps to manipulate people, etc., is when you repress it deeply, deeply, deeply because you have to appear to be so nice and pleasant with everyone around you. What happens is it comes out in ways that you're not aware of, that you can't control. So think about it in relation to yourself in those moments where some kind of anger suddenly flared up. Somebody said something and it triggered you. And your reaction is a little bit stronger than you normally would expect. And you think, God, what did I do in that moment? Like you'll think like minutes later or the next day. You know, you have a bit of shame or you have a bit of regret. And you have this feeling, that really wasn't me, something else came over me, right? But I want you to understand that it is you, that shadow part of you is something that you have to acknowledge. It's a deep, deep part of you. It's the little child inside of you that is wanting to come out, and you're pushing it down. And because you're pushing it down, it makes you do things that you maybe later regret, particularly when you act out against other people. So reflect on those moments and reflect on the problems that it caused you in life. I know personally that my shadow side, I tend to have very aggressive impulses, I am afraid to admit. And it comes out when I play games, card games, etc. It drives people crazy because I like to win. That dark side, it contains a lot of power and a lot of energy. I know, for instance, another example of it is I'll write an email in which I'm kind of bitter and angry at somebody, and I'll send it. And then I'll go, damn it, why did I send that? I exposed myself. I revealed something about myself that I didn't want to reveal, and I regretted. That's my shadow side acting out, okay? The point of this is not to make you these conniving, manipulative, angry people acting out in the world. That's not going to help you at all. The value here is recognizing that you have this dark energy, that you have these impulses, sometimes to even hurt people, to manipulate people, to push people around to get what you want. Sometimes you don't like other people, but you have to be so pleasant in the office. You have to say, oh, you're wonderful. Oh, your screenplay was so great. And you feel, oh, I'm not being authentic. So what you want to do in this process, it's called shadow work in psychology, is You want to look at it. You want to look at yourself in the mirror. You want to recognize that dark energy, okay? Yes, I am aggressive. Yes, I can get angry. Yes, I want to get what I want in life, and sometimes I'm not the nicest person about it. I have these desires. Yes, I feel envy. Just have that come to Jesus moment and admit that you have this energy. Now, once you admit it, you have to then try and find a way to channel it, okay? It's not like you repress it. It's not like you act out in this world. It's that you find a way to move it in a direction that's productive. So, for instance, I had a lot of anger in my years, particularly in my 20s and 30s, when I didn't have any success in life. I felt like, I had to deal with a lot of office politics, and I hated it. And I hated all the brown nosing. I hated all the people who got ahead by the sheer bullshit. It drove me crazy. I was angry. And I channeled that anger into the 48 laws of power, because there's a deep undercurrent of anger in that book about all those people who pushed me around, and I felt like it wasn't fair. Okay, I took that dark energy and I channeled it into something I think is productive. Now, you might disagree with it, but I think it had a productive impact on people. A lot of artists and people who create something have that same thing. Instead of moving away from your anger, they access it. They find it in them. They find the things that they don't like. They find all the oppression, all the people that did nasty things to them. And they don't whine and complain and act out. They put it into their work. They express it. And when we see a movie or we read a book that has that dark energy, we love it, because we're also repressed people. We all have to be so virtuous that when we see other people expressing it, we love it. The other way to do that is, if you have a lot of aggressive energy, push it into something productive, into a career, make yourself the best person, or into a cause you hate. You hate certain things that people do in this world, or you're very worried about certain causes. Pour all of that anger, that energy, that aggression into something worthwhile and pro-social that'll help people. So the idea here, just to summarize, is recognize your dark energy. Recognize the shadow that's inside of you. See when it happens. Do not repress it. Do not tamp it down. Do not let it act out in the world freely, but find a way to channel it. So when you take like water or something that has a lot of force behind it, and you channel it in a direction, it actually has more force. So when you take that energy and you concentrate it on something important, it has a lot of power to it. So this is the idea of recognizing your shadow and using it for all that energy that's in it.
Every single human being has self-absorption traits. We can't help it. We naturally think of ourselves first. Yes, there are people who are much deeper narcissists in life, no doubt, and there are toxic narcissists, but we all have a touch of it. I want you to be a little more humble in this world and not be so arrogant and not think that you are somehow exempt from having a dark side, that somehow you were born with a halo over your head, that you were born different, you don't have human nature, that you're a saintly person, you're much better. Get rid of your moral superiority, because I find that deeply offensive. We are all cut from the same cloth. We all have the same flaws. And when you look at yourself, and when I wrote The Laws of Human Nature, I'm going, damn it, Robert, you have a dark side. You're a narcissist. I had to come to terms with my irrationality, my grandiosity, my aggressive instincts. But it's the only way to change yourself, is to be aware that you have these issues. I have the narcissistic tendencies. Now I see it. All right, now when they pop up, I can control it better. I can say, damn, Robert, you're being too self-absorbed to think more about the other person. But if you go around in life thinking, I don't have any of these problems, I'm not a narcissist, you're never going to have the awareness to stop the fact that you are actually one. With narcissism, for instance, there's a reason why we're narcissists. So I explain in the book, it's not my own theory, it comes from some great psychologists like Kohut, the origins of narcissism, right? So when your parents have to kind of not abandon you, but have to not give you as much attention as you used to have, and you're 3 years old or 4 years old, you don't remember it, but it was very painful. Like, oh, they don't love me as much. What's wrong with me, right? I have to get that love and attention, not just naturally, I have to do things to earn it, etc. And what happens with a lot of people in that situation when you're a child is I have to develop I have to be my own mother or father. I have to find a way of loving myself. When something bad happens, I have to retreat inward and go, I'm really not so bad at all. I'm actually a decent person. I like my own tastes. I like the clothes that I wear, etc., etc. You're developing the shreds of self-esteem, right? And people who never develop that because they were abused or they were abandoned or even if they were suffocated, never develop that self-esteem. And so what happens in life is if you don't develop that and you get older and people attack you and yell at you or criticize you, you can't retreat inward to that self-esteem, that love you have. The only thing you know is to get angry, they call it narcissistic rage, and to yell at people and say, God, get away from me, you're evil. And then the other problems evolve where the only way I don't have that inner self-esteem, the only way I can get people to love me is by being incredibly dramatic and overly dramatic, et cetera, and always making myself the center of attention. That's what creates a deep narcissist. That's their only way of getting the love that they need. So children, we all need that degree of self-esteem, that anchor in our life. So narcissism, self-love, is not a bad thing. But what happens is as you get older, if you go too deep into it, it becomes a problem. And so what I say is you need to take that self-love and that has a good function and turn it outward as much you can and turn it into empathy and love and consideration for other people more. That's your task as you get older in life. That's how I approach all of these flaws. You can't run away from them. You can't run away from your shadow, your dark side. You can make it work for you. You can make it positive and productive and healthy. You can become a healthy narcissist, which is a name that I use in the book. You can use your dark side for positive purposes. Let's say you have a lot of anger inside, and I had a lot of anger when I was younger. I was a very angry young man. Channel that into some kind of cause. I have a lot of causes that I believe in very deeply. And when I was younger, I was like that. Channel that energy into something productive and helpful and put it into something that goes to something that helps society. That's using your dark side for positive purposes. Because the dark side of human nature has a lot of creativity, has a lot of energy. An artist has to have a dark side. You use your dark side because all those dark emotions, all the people that shat on you in your life, they inspire you. They create your best work. Don't run away from your shadow. Don't run away from your narcissism. Use it in a healthy way.
I go very deeply into the shadow in a chapter in my last book, The Laws of Human Nature. And I try and talk about how one integrates the shadow because it's not an easy answer for that. You know, people are kind of perplexed. Well, I have this dark side, and I explain a lot of where it comes from and how a lot of your aggressive impulses, like the room of 2-year-olds that you were talking about, you have that as well. I'm talking to the people that my readers. You have that aggressiveness when you were young, and it got socialized out of you, and then it got repressed, and it's like a lost self that lives inside of you and is screaming to come out. How do you integrate it? And so the main thing is you have to be aware that you have this shadow side. You can't run away from it. You have to acknowledge that it exists. A lot of young people they enter the world where they've been coddled, where they think that there are no winners, that everyone is, it's just win-win situations. And that's where they get really shocked by the realities of the world. So all this coddling and this idea that there doesn't have to be a winner. We don't have to get prizes for first place. Everybody should get a prize. All you're doing is setting your children up for massive, shocks when they enter the world and they see that it's not like that. Well, a lot of my books, I try to remove the kind of taboo or the negative associations we have with the word like power or with the word ambition. I try and say ambition is a good thing. It means that you believe in yourself, you have some self-love, and you believe you're worth something, and you want to go out and achieve and create something worthwhile for other people. So ambition is a positive thing. But so many people are just kind of embarrassed about being a human being, embarrassed about our primate nature, embarrassed about our own aggressive impulse. you end up turning that aggressive energy on yourself is what ends up happening. And that's maybe leads to suicide, the ultimate kind of self-aggression. I know that I personally have, as I said, I definitely have a shadow side. I'm very aggressive and extremely competitive, and I have a lot of anger. So a lot of those experiences in my youth made me very angry. But the way I kind of integrated my shadow, I'm not saying this is a model, but the way I integrated it was through my books. So I kind of, that anger kind of seeps through the material that I write, and I find I can only write when I have that kind of anger. But I don't rant. I don't yell and kind of put people down. I kind of channel it into something productive and something creative.